The bottom line is, you're out, bro. The first time ever in 7 seasons of The Ultimate Fighter that somebody gets kicked off after the show.
Hey fam, brace yourself for the most brutal UFC exits. Watch as Dana White delivers knockout blows outside the octagon, firing fighters with savage precision. You won't believe who got the boot. Rousimar Palhares.
Last night there was kind of an ugly incident at one of your fight night events. Rousimar Palhares, he had his opponent in an ankle lock. His opponent tapped out and Palhares wouldn't let go. We can see it here. Is that the kind of incident that gives your league and your sport a bad name and that bolsters the case of the Attorney General in a place like New York?
No, I mean, the fact that UFC, if you ever watch a UFC event, the camaraderie, the sportsmanship is amazing in this sport. You know, we had an incident with a guy named Paul Daly from England who hit somebody after the fight was over. The fight was over and, you know, everybody's in the corner waiting for the decision. He went over and hit the guy. We cut him. He'll never fight in the UFC ever again. And this is the second incident we've had with Paul Harris where he had the lock and he didn't let it go. Finally, he let it go, but yeah, I'm going to cut him too.
You're going to cut him. This is it. You're saying here right now on the record, not just a suspension, he's done.
He's done.
He's done.
Rousimar Palhares, after he wouldn't cleanly let go of Mike Pierce's knee after submitting him last Wednesday, Palhares' camp said he was perplexed by the release and doesn't understand it. What did they say to you when you told them they'd been cut?
He's not perplexed. He's not perplexed at all. The bottom line is anybody who is involved in jiu-jitsu knows that that's the nastiest submission you can put somebody in. It's the dirtiest, nastiest submission in jiu-jitsu or in the sport of mixed martial arts. And when you get it and you know you got it and the guy taps, you let go. And if you don't, I will cut you.
So yeah, you said he was cut initially, so I guess the question is now if Palhares gets his act together, is the door still open for him to return to the UFC?
He has a history of doing this. He did it in Abu Dhabi, and he knew what he was doing that night. Apparently, there was some talk where Mike Pierce had said some bad things and everything else. There's no place for that in this sport. You don't hold a leg lock that long while the guy is tapping and you know he's tapping. And especially, that's what Paul Harris is known for. He's the best. He's the best in the world at leg locks. And what he did was wrong and really despicable, what he did. He won't be back. He can go fight in another organization. We don't put up with that stuff here.
Dana White.
Mohammed Makayev.
That's what we tell guys. We tell guys how to fight and tell them what we've been doing this for a long time. I'm sure one of the matchmakers probably said something to him or whatever, but yeah, the matchmakers aren't big fans of his for many different reasons, and not just there's a lot of people who shoot takedowns in this business. You know, a lot of guys that fight with that type of style. But it's a lot more than just that.
But Makayev is the guy that you'd want to bring back to the UFC because he said his contract is totally done now.
Yeah, he is. He's under contract. He's not under contract anymore.
Okay, but would you be interested in keeping him around in the fall?
I think the PFL is going to get a great undefeated guy.
Really?
Good luck to him.
He went out and said that he'd fight for free to get back in the UFC since it was a dream. Did he ever go up to you guys and actually talk about stuff like that?
Of course, nobody's going to fight for free. People can talk all the shit. People can talk all the shit they want about how we pay, but nobody's fighting for free. It is what it is. You know, I always say that this is an opportunity to be here and to perform in front of the entire world, and you know. He's just a guy that did everything wrong and pissed these guys off. I wasn't involved in any of the stuff that happened with him, but you know, the matchmakers and Hunter were, and they weren't happy with him. They weren't happy with the way he acted. They weren't happy with a lot of things he did and said, and you know, yeah, I guess you can look back now and regret it, but you did it. You did it, and you put yourself in this position.
Paul Daly.
Have you follow up on that incident?
He's done. I don't give a shit if he's the best 170-pounder in the world. He'll never come back here again.
We're talking Paul Daly.
Yeah.
You're cutting him from the UFC.
Yeah, he'll never come back. I'm probably the most lenient guy in sports, and this is probably one of the most lenient organizations. And we're all human. We all make mistakes. Things happen. There's no excuse for that. These guys are professional athletes. You don't ever hit a guy blatantly after the bell like that, whether you're frustrated or not. And it was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, because he is a talented guy, and he is one of the best 170-pounders in the world. And I was actually impressed with his takedown defense, because, there isn't wrestling in England. He's obviously been working on his wrestling game, and it was just, he's beat all the top guys at 170 pounds, comes in and faces Koscheck, who's a good fighter, and hung in there. The stuff like the eye gouging, the hit after the bell, all that stuff, that will not ever be tolerated, and he's done. I don't care if he fights in every show all over the world and becomes the best, and everybody thinks he's the pound-for-pound best in the world. He will never fight in the UFC ever again. It's done. So.
Is that a message to all fighters, not just him? This is also a way to say all fighters will not be tolerated?
No, just him. Of course, yeah. He'll never come back again. Never.
Was it over the sucker punch, the eye gouge, just every
sucker punch? Yeah, it was a sucker punch. Sometimes things go on in there and stuff happens. I don't know about the eye gouging. You don't know if that actually happened. I can tell you, I know he actually punched him long after the bell, when he knew. When I went in there and talked to him after the fight, he said I didn't hear the bell. That's what he said. So it won't be tolerated.
Does he still get paid tonight, Dan?
Huh?
Does he still get paid tonight?
Will he get paid?
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with that. Yes, I'm going to pay him, and then he'll never fight in the UFC again. And the commission's going to do.
Unfortunately, there were some negatives tonight. Paul Daly and his I guess you could call it sucker punch after the Josh Koscheck fight. You announced at the press conference that he is done with the UFC. Is that correct, and why?
Yeah, he'll never fight in the UFC ever again. Listen, many people know I'm probably one of the most lenient guys in sports, and it's probably one of the most lenient organizations. The way that I look at these guys is, yes, they're professional athletes. At the end of the day, they're human beings, and everybody makes mistakes. We all make mistakes, but there's no place in this sport or this business for stuff like that. And what bothered me even more was his answer when I went up into the Octagon and talked to him after. He said, "Nah, I didn't hear the bell." And when I asked him, do you want to continue fighting in the UFC? He shrugged his shoulders and turned his, well, there you go. Now you won't.
So had he not answered it that way, is it possible that he might have stuck around?
I don't know. Probably not. But, that didn't help.
Have you talked to him backstage, maybe the heat of the moment, anything like that?
I don't care. There's a heat of the moment. You don't ever listen. Lots of guys talk trash. Lots of guys are frustrated. First of all, I think that Paul Daly is one of the best 170-pounders. Listen, England isn't known for their wrestling, okay? He looked good tonight. Koscheck didn't take him down at will. Koscheck had a couple times where he had to work to take him down. And I don't think Daly looked horrible tonight. He's knocked out all the top guys at 170, gets in there with Koscheck, who's a seasoned guy, has been around for a long time, trained with a lot of great people, and has a wrestling background. And to blatantly walk up and punch a guy long after the bell rang, it's just, there's no place for that in this organization. And I don't care if he becomes the pound-for-pound best in the world and everybody's screaming him for him to be in the UFC, it won't happen.
So just to be clear, even if he reaches out to you in a week and apologizes, whatever, he's done?
No, he's done.
Jesse Taylor.
Basically telling him, you know who I am? I'm a UFC fighter. And that don't cut it. Bro, you're not even famous yet. What the are you gonna be like when you start making money and everybody wants your autograph? You're not ready. The bottom line is, you're out, bro. The first time ever in 7 seasons of The Ultimate Fighter that somebody gets kicked off after the show. Commitments to you.
In the show, you gotta commit to yourself. Don't shortchange your shit. Yeah.
You're here, there's one contract.
Jason Miller.
I guess what I'll say about the Mayhem thing is, you know, when you get embarrassed the way that you did against Michael Bisping, and then you show up at the next fight with pink, fucking whatever that thing was on and all that other shit. I'm not into that stuff. It's not my thing. I guess I don't really care if guys do it, you know, because you see it at the weigh-ins all the time. You see stuff like that. But come on, man. You know, take this thing serious. You want to be a clown, you can do that later. Do that on your reality show, you know. But, you know, I don't know. Then something happened here backstage after Mayhem's done. He's gone.
What happened? Can you share it all?
Just some bullshit I don't want to talk about. We're on on a crazy string here of dumb bull.
Was it just words, or did something physical happen? Or?
No, nothing physical. Nothing physical. Doesn't matter. He's done. He's not with us anymore.
Is he done with?
He's not with us anymore.
As a whole?
Yeah, he's not with us anymore.
He have been done regardless of
Probably. Yeah. You know, but you know, I don't really make those kind of decisions like right after. You know, I get together, me, Lorenzo, and Joe talk, and you know, I can be a little irrational sometimes, and so we sit down and we talk and we figure things out. You know.
Do you think you'd be able to kind of compete better than you did in these 2 fights over here when you guys got over?
Do I think you'd be able to compete better if what?
Do you think you would be able to be a little more competitive when you brought him over?
You never know. You know, it's funny because when you have all these other organizations and people start saying, oh, this guy's the best, and this guy starts getting ranked, and he hasn't fought the best guys in the world yet. That's why I always call bull on most of those rankings.
Mike Jackson.
Michael Jackson, I'm not happy with. This guy was acting like a football tonight. You get this opportunity to come in and fight CM Punk, and you're doing like bolo punches to the body on top. Never looked like he was trying to finish the fight ever. Right? Looked like he could have finished the fight a few times. Never tried. I don't know what that guy did for a living before we gave him the shot, but whatever it was, he needs to go back and do that again. He's 0-2 as far as I'm concerned.
Well, to that point, it seemed like he was trying to milk it to stay on TV longer. Did you get that sense?
I got the sense that he's a complete idiot, and I couldn't wait for that fight to end, and I regretted not putting it on Fight Pass. That's how I about it. 4 o'clock.
And my last question is, you did talk about Mike Jackson. Is that it for his UFC career?
Yeah, that's it for his UFC career. Yeah, I wouldn't put that kid in the Contender Series.
CM Punk.
Last question. Obviously, CM Punk, suffered a tough loss tonight. I have to imagine that's it for him. But I mean, did you talk to him after the fight? And I gotta imagine, is that it for him as far as how many chances you're going to give him in the UFC?
Did he do any media after the fight?
He got transported.
Huh?
He was transported.
Oh, he was? And everybody got transported tonight. No, it should be a wrap, The guy's 39 years old. I love the guy. He's the nicest guy in the world. We gave him 2 shots, and he had a lot of heart tonight in this fight. And I think you should call it a wrap.
What do you think about the heart that he showed in the fight?
No, he did, man. Listen, he got clipped a lot in that fight. It looked like he was hurt bad a couple of times. He stayed in there. He went for 3 rounds,
Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this compilation of Dana's most savage moments, smash that like button and subscribe for more UFC drama. Stay tuned for the next video.